So let's talk about solar, man. Like, there's a lot going on with solar. Like, during the summer right now, I'm getting crazy electric bills.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to get solar panels because it just saves so much money. And I've heard you can even make money back. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on solar? I mean, I see you wearing a solar shirt. So
Yeah. This is 180 solar power. My buddy Peter, he lives down in Escondido.
Okay.
And great at what he does. He's installed thousands of solar systems throughout Southern California.
Solar systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's galactic.
Right? So he's done churches. He's done commercial buildings, ton of residential. Yeah, and in fact, he's actually let me come on board because, you know, I am in home improvement.
Yeah.
So I've actually done a few dozen solar deals this past year. So, yeah, I think it's really for everyone. Everyone really needs to tune into it because not only are you saving a bunch of money on it, but you're reducing all of the pollution and byproduct of delivering that energy to you from these huge power plants. You know, San Onofre, I don't think it's even going anymore. I think they shut it down. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in energy generation. So we're at a time right now where everyone has the ability to self-generate on their roof. And typical ROI, that's what it all pencils out to, is how much money is it going to cost versus how much is it going to save me in the long term.
Right.
And typically it's about 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years to pay back your investment.
Right.
Okay.
And then you're free and clear for 30 years because all the equipment is warranted for 30 years. So, and yeah, basically, you know, it starts with knowing how much you're consuming. It would be your amount of kilowatt hours that you're consuming in a given year. So the first step in the process of sizing your system is to look over your electricity bill and get what your kilowatt hours are every month for the last 12 months.
Got it.
Assuming that that's going to be your normal consumption, pattern.
So obviously a little more in the summer when you're running your air conditioning.
Exactly.
A little less in the winter when you're not.
Yeah. So you're going to average out the peak and the low end, and you're going to get an average or a total of this is how many kilowatt hours you consumed the last year. Based on your amount of kilowatt hour usage in a given year, you'd be able to see how many panels you need based on the wattage per panel.
Okay.
Okay. It's a little complicated, but
that's what I was kind of wondering. Like how like I have a friend that has 2 solar panels up in Apple Valley.
Yeah.
And it's pretty tight on electricity, quite frankly.
Of course.
You know, if a girl comes and plugs in a hair dryer or something like that, you know, it's 1,500 watts. It's sucking a lot of energy, and so the lights will go off and weird stuff like that. So 2 solar panels, obviously not enough for what they're trying to do.
Right.
So what's like an average for, let's say, just a normal 3-bedroom home? What would be an average number of solar panels you think you might need for a family of 5?
That's a super common question.
Yeah.
And the truth is there is no average.
Okay.
It is very site specific. So
yeah. Because we have the same house as the next door neighbor, but they're not doing nearly as much as us. I've got girls that are doing their hair and they're on their phone all the time and they're watching YouTube on the TV.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. So it really just depends. The first thing that we're going to do when we come out is we're going to look at your panel. We're going to see how much amperage you have on your actual panel, what load it can handle before needing an upgrade. Mm-hmm. So some panels you only have 125 amps, others you have 200 and above. So there's a lot of space on there to hook up additional amperage.
Got it.
Basically, once we know how much amperage is available, we'll look at your roof and we'll be able to determine how much space you have, whether we're going to be able to get a good south-facing roof angle.
So that's important too.
Yeah, you want to get as much south as possible. That's why it's 180 solar powered, because 180 degrees is the most optimal angle to capture the most amount of sunlight.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is it not beneficial to like put panels on the front of your roof and the back of your roof.
It is beneficial. You're just not going to capture as much as you would on a south-facing roof.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about a situation where you don't have a south-facing roof? Maybe your house is situated differently.
You would just
Does
need
that
more
happen?
panels. It does.
Okay.
It does. You would just need more panels, or we can get creative sometimes and put them on a patio cover, or if you have the space for it, even a ground mount.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So yeah, I saw some of that. Akon, the singer,
Yeah.
actually went back to his home country and invested his own money to build a solar panel farm.
Love that.
And he did all ground mounts, and it brought electricity to an entire community that never had electricity. Period.
Man.
So,
yeah.
I mean, this was like 10 years ago. It wasn't like Akon, he's recent. So, I mean, these people have been living without electricity for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And then now all of a sudden they can plug in blenders and do, I mean, it allowed them to bring technology into the community because the technology needs electricity. So he upgraded a whole community's life by his generosity.
All the big companies, Google, Facebook, Apple, Walmart, like all of the huge companies that we know today that are household names, they own solar farms. It's because it makes sense. Not only does it make sense economically, it makes sense for the environment. So electricity is an increasing expense.
Sure.
It's not decreasing. If you look over the last 30 years, it has steady gone up. And even if you were just to look over the last 10 years, it's going up even more.
Yeah.
Than when you zoom out.
Well, there's so much more of a demand. Like everything we do now is electric, from our iPhones, our iPads, our computers. Like in the old days, you had a car, and maybe you had a TV, and that was it. You know,
fridge.
I mean,
Yeah.
Fridge. You're right. You know, so it was a very low power consumption. But now everything we do, including our cars, is running on electricity.
Yeah.
So it's only getting more and more. And then I always see the electric company running these ads like, play it safe. Do your laundry at night.
Yeah, you get these letters saying that you consume 20% more than your neighbors do, and all these guilt. They're just sending out guilt letters, right, to keep the consumption low, because they know that California can't sustain the demand. So that's where a lot of the expense. That's where a lot of the cost of this electricity is going to, is in transmission and distribution. It's not even the actual kilowatt hour that we're paying for. It's the transportation of that kilowatt hour. So if you can put yourself in a position where you're generating your own power on your roof, you're no longer paying for electricity. It's the same concept as owning a home versus renting.
Right.
People own because they want to have equity.
Sure.
They want to own an asset. They know that real estate is going up. It's an uptrend. And they want to be able to invest. It's a long-term decision rather than just renting a house every month and the money is going to nowhere. So the same thing is true with electricity. We're all renting electricity, and no one can control the price of electricity. You're just going to pay whatever they determine it is.
True.
And that's it. You're going to pay up. You get solar panels on your roof. Now you have assumed the role of a utility company, and you own it. You own your own utility company.
I love it.
It's a generational type of investment, just like real estate is. And I like to take this a step further, especially for those who invest in real estate, and maybe they own multifamily homes or maybe even multiple single-family homes. If you were to put solar panels on those rental income properties, you would be able to lower the expense that the tenant is paying to the utility company currently, but you'd also be able to generate cash flow from that system by charging them a lower rate, basically. It's a different angle that I don't think really anyone's doing. But I noticed it in having interest in all these different, avenues.
You could just say, I mean, I don't know much about this, but it seems like, so I'm paying a $300 plus electric bill, especially in the summer. Usually in the winter, it's around, I don't know, 100, 150, let's say.
Yeah.
But if my landlord were to come to me and say, hey, look, we got these solar panels. How about you just pay us $100 a month for electricity? I would be like, deal. at least I know it's a flat rate. It's never going to be any higher. And I'm loving life, especially in the winter time or the summertime. So yeah, that's a good deal. Now, how much does a solar system,
Yeah.
how much does one of these solar panel systems usually cost for, let's say, just an average house?
Yeah. So again, average consumption, average house, it's all going to be different. It's all going to be site specific.
Agreed.
So when we're talking about how much a system is going to cost, we're talking about an inverter, because the panels, they produce a low voltage DC.
Got it.
Okay. And then the inverter converts it to usable AC.
Right.
Okay. So we're talking about panels, an inverter. If your panel won't accommodate the size of system that you need, then we have to do a panel upgrade.
Right.
If you're having an overhead service or underground, there's a lot of different factors.
Sure. Sure. A lot of factors. Let's say average cost. So like, is it $5? Is it 100,000?
A house like this, was it 4-bedroom, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's such. I can't even throw out a number because it's so.
This isn't
it's
a
so
house.
different.
We're in a studio.
Very nice studio, yeah. So it could vary anywhere between $10,000 and $40,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you could be on the lower end of that, and that's pretty easy to recover from. If you've got a bigger house, a bigger demand, you need more upgrades as far as your electric panel is concerned, then you could be looking at the higher end.
Yeah.
So let's just say we're talking about a $25,000 system, just right there in the middle.
Sure.
How long do you think it's going to take to pay that back? Is that a 5-6 year kind of thing, or?
Yeah, they're always gonna. So the 5 to 6 year payback is going to be the size of system that we're going to create for you to return it in that amount of time.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So
you could pay cash, right? You could pay cash and be free and clear for the next 30 years if you wanted to. It really varies, but the fact is that if you can eliminate an increasing expense going into the future, that's the same as earning X amount of return every year on your money.
I agree.
And so those are the fundamentals of it. There's a 30% tax credit that's still available. It's only available until 2020.
Okay.
So after that, it goes away. It gets reduced.
So the government's actually giving you some money back on that deal. So that offsets the cost as well.
If it's $25,000, you take 30% off that, and that's all you're going to have to pay.
And if it's saving you $100 a month, let's say, even if it took my bill from $300 to $200 every day in the summer, I'd be happy, man.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty happy. And if you were saving $100 a month, I mean, you're looking at $1,200 in a year, so depending on whether you got the 10,000 or whatever. Yeah. But I'm sure it's going to save you more than $100 a month, right?
Yeah, like I said, numbers are hard. I really, what you really need is to get your kilowatt hour usage penciled out. If you want a consultation, you can call 180 Solar Power.
Right. Cool.
And they'll send someone out there. It's totally free. They'll do an assessment of your usage. They'll look at your panel. They'll even draw you up a design, of what the system will look like. Yeah. And you'll have a picture of what it's going to cost and all those details.
I love it. You're helping the environment, but you're also really helping yourself out quite a bit. And if you're a homeowner, then I mean that's going to be a nice upgrade to your house, because if you do decide to sell it, you've got that extra value there.
Yeah.
When you're selling it to that new person, saying, hey, look, your electric bill is going to be low.
Yeah.
Or null.
Right. And the real way to get into solar is to own your system.
Sure.
There's a lot of companies out there that sell the lease.
Yeah.
The lease. It's like, oh, we'll put all this equipment on your home. We'll install it, $0 out of pocket. And it's like...
Sounds good at first.
Man. And yeah.
But what's the end result of something like that?
The end result is you're still paying that lower amount than the utility company, but they have the right to increase the rate that you're paying per kilowatt hour, and you never own the system.
So in essence, they're becoming the electric company.
That's it.
And then they're setting the rate. So if they decide to charge you more, then sorry about it.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I mean, it sounds so attractive to have somebody come out, and I've heard it before. Like, yeah, we'll come out, we'll do it all for free.
Right.
I'm like, well, free is great, but then you find yourself in this predicament where they are basically becoming the electric company and could be just as bad.
Yeah.
One
so
day.
again, on the surface, it's a good deal. because most people are paying 30, 40 cents a kilowatt hour. But if you can get into a lease and you're fixed at 15 cents, that's a win right there, right?
It's a win.
Okay, but even at 15 cents, you probably could have owned that system paying the 15 cents for maybe 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm. And now that you could have owned it.
And that never goes, and when you own it, that price obviously never goes up. If you're at 15 cents or whatever, it never goes up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be at 15 cents. You would own it.
You would own it. So you're really not, duh.
So, and then going into getting paid, right? So no systems are off grid. All solar systems, they're all grid tied. So even if you have battery storage, when the power goes down, everyone's down. You can't have power going into the grid when there's a shutdown. Otherwise, the line workers couldn't work on it.
Oh, sure.
It'd be a huge danger.
But it is a two-way street like that, though. You can. So when let's say if you've exceeded the amount that you need in your house, then you're actually sending power to the electric company.
Boom. And we all have smart meters now, so it doesn't spin anymore, but the numbers will go backwards. So for every kilowatt hour that you send onto the grid, they will pay you X amount of dollars for.
They'll actually pay you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stoked on that idea, dude.
So
making money off electricity.
But that's why they're fighting really hard to get away from that. It's called net metering 2.0, and that's where we're at currently.
But they don't want to do it.
They're trying to get rid of that. Yeah, they're trying to.
They're having to shuck out dollars to us for helping them generate electricity.
Right.
Shrewd move, electric companies. Shrewd move.
So
well, that's cool. So they can contact 180 Solar to find out more about that. Yeah. And I think, like I said, it's helping the environment. It's helping yourself out. It sounds like a good way to go.
Yeah, man.
180 Solar was fantastic to work with. Peter is the primary person I dealt with. And everything was done professionally, and they pulled all the permits, and the people that needed to come okay the permits came and okayed them. And so I've had it running for almost a little over 4 years, and my bill has gone to nothing almost per month. Absolutely nothing. San Diego Gas and Electric chews it up in the March time frame, and maybe I pay between $10 and $30. And this is Christmas Card Lane, so our house in December is lit up for 30 days, if not longer, with lights all over the house. And during the summer, we run the air conditioning. I have my son and daughter-in-law living here, and we run the air conditioning all summer long. And my bill's still in the $20 to $40 range at the most in the March timeframe. I do not pay anything per month to San Diego Gas and Electric.